On to our debate segment. Is you with it or not?
Yeah.
Today's combatants, it's the Johnson brothers. The topic, boxing. This weekend, we have a championship fight between Manny Pacquiao, the WBA regular welterweight champion, and Keith Thurman, the WA welterweight super champion. We want to know who's going to win and why. So I got a coin here. I'm going to flip it. Call it.
Heads.
Tails it is.
No sloppy toppy.
So what you got?
I'm gonna go with Keith one-time Thurman.
Keith one-time Thurman.
Keith. Okay.
All right. So
well, I'll be making the Pacquiao debate, I guess. You know what? I'll go first.
Oh shit.
Okay.
1
DJ
point for
Mike,
Kevin
spin
already.
that.
you know.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun and get in front of this train before it comes down the street. Look, my opponent, who is my brother Devin, of course, is going to point out that Manny Pacquiao is indeed 10 years older than Mr. Thurman.
Yep.
What he won't mention tonight is that he is also 10 years older than me. 10 years and 3 days to be exact. And if I was to challenge my poor brother Devin to a duel right here in front of all of you gentlemen, most of you in the room who are closer to his age than mine would probably pick Devin to win, despite me being the more physical specimen. You would bank on Devin's experience, his proven ability, and the wisdom that he has gained over his childbearing years.
Different weight class.
My advantages. Correct, Omar. That same logic should apply to how we view this fight, and I think that's because Manny's the more seasoned fighter. People will say he isn't the boxer that he was 5-8 years ago, but I will argue that Mr. Thurman is not the boxer that he was 2 years ago. He fought just once since March 2017, correct me if I'm wrong, and that was this past January, where he looked rusty against Mr. Lopez. Thurman has had surgery, been in a car accident since, and while Manny's last 2 fights, he showed against Broner and against Matisse that he still has the speed and he can be effective against a young opponent. As a result, I think Thurman feels that he, to a degree, has more to prove in this fight, and we all know that there's nothing more stubborn than a young man with an axe to grind. So with Manny, who has over 70 career fights in boxing over 24 years, Mr. Thurman has 30 fights in his 30 years on this earth, and I think with Manny's patience, his expertise, his proven ability to pick his spots, he is going to defeat Thurman. I don't know if it goes the full round. I'll be drunk, but I do know. Who's judging this fight? Omar, Kenyon? Y'all know, we know, the hood knows that Manny Pacquiao is going to win this fight on Saturday.
All I know is you lucky Kenyon is judging this.
All right, Dev, it's on you.
All right. First of all, Kev, you don't want these paws. So there's so much talent in this welterweight division and so much smoke to be handed out. It's loaded. I believe like Omar says this all the time about boxing. I want Manny to go away. And the reason why I want him to go away is, don't get me wrong, he's an all-time great. He's still pretty good, but there are hungry dogs that are waiting, and he's getting in the way. I believe Keith one-time Thurman can accommodate my wish by putting Manny away for good this Saturday. If Keith wins, Manny won't be up for any of the upcoming big fights with these other dogs, because I think if he does, he's going to make it complicated. This allows Thurman to be in the mix to fight Errol Spence, maybe even Terrence Crawford, and maybe rematch the other top welterweights within the division. This is actually a legacy fight for Thurman. He's been wanting and jumping up and down to fight greats for a long time. He has to win, and he has to win this decisively, because if there's any disputed decision, the public will want to see it again, and we don't. We want to see fresh blood. This is, like Kevin said, he's 10 years younger than Manny, and he hasn't been in any wars. Manny's been in 3 trilogies and at least 1 rematch. Keith actually is the smarter boxer of the two, maybe has more power. We haven't seen Manny knock anybody out since Ricky Hatton 2009, 10 years ago. He may have comparable speed. Manny's probably a little bit faster, even at 40. And Keith has more to prove. Not to mention that he has the longer reach. and hasn't been beaten, and he's beaten notable southpaws with Luis Collazo and Robert the Ghost Guerrero. So he won't have any issues with figuring out the southpaw obstacle. And lastly, Thurman will win because he doesn't know what losing is like. He is undefeated. And how can a top champ in his prime lose to an over-the-hill 40-year-old fighter?
Kenyon, I just want you to know, I take
Oh my God.
for this.
Well,
It's Quilted Northern. Shit is expensive.
we got a welterweight versus a heavyweight here. Kenyon, who won?
Wait, time out. Who won the debate or who's going to win the fight? Two different questions.
It could be the same answer.
It could be the same answer.
We talking about the debate right now.
I actually think it is the same answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I Devin won the debate. I really don't know. It really is a pick 'em fight. I think that Manny Pacquiao has seen someone like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has never seen anyone like Manny Pacquiao, even though he is 40. That's one question. I don't know what Manny Pacquiao is going to look like as the fight gets later. To me, Keith Thurman for Manny Pacquiao is like Tim Bradley. If we can remember Tim Bradley before he died in Carson, that's who Tim Bradley is for him. He's going to be smart. He's got all the physical advantages, but it is different when you get in the ring when you get in there with Manny. So I'm from when the fight was being rumored.
So I won?
You definitely won the debate.
Let me
You
say
said
this.
it to me more than
What
once that
you
you
mean,
think
definitely?
Manny can beat Thurman.
Yeah, I do. I think Manny can beat Thurman for real.
I honestly think that Manny can beat Thurman after the debate. I think it is a pick'em fight. I don't know. I think it's more so you say you don't know what Manny looks like later in the round. I don't know what Keith Thurman looks like under these bright lights. He's been asking for it.
And that's another thing. That's also another point.
And he better be physically right.
And like Kevin said, he looked rusty in his last fight, and he used to have this big thing over him, like he was a big puncher one time. He hasn't one time anybody in a long time.
Yeah, he's been one time in a while.
So I don't know if that power is still like that. We know Manny can still pop, and Floyd said like I can see why Manny is great. He's really awkward. And is Keith Thurman smart like Floyd? I don't think so. He's a smart fighter,
right?
But he has a tendency that when he does get hit, he retreats. He doesn't hold and turn.
He gets very ordinary when he gets popped.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Pacquiao will hit him.
Absolutely. It really is, folks. It's a really good fight. If you know, I'm sure everybody knows who Manny Pacquiao is. It is a really, even at 40, don't believe the hype. Don't listen to the narrative. Manny Pacquiao, it's going to be an interesting fight. I would not be surprised if he won. So,